Greetings, I'm Dr. Sean Reed, author of the Dating Toolbox, available on Amazon.com. So guys, if you want to get better at meeting women, dating women, seducing women, getting them to fall in love with you, please hit the like and subscribe button, and please watch more of my videos. So today I want to talk about the key to seduction is practice. Again, the key to seduction is practice. Seduction is a learnable skill, okay? Seduction is something that we used to call game in the old seduction community. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But game is based upon 5 fundamental skills. If you watch this video today, I'm going to unpack these. I'm going to talk about these 5 skills that you can develop through practice. You can get better at seduction. You can develop your game through practice. So what are these 5 fundamental components of game that you can develop and get better at? First, we have mindset. Next, we have conversation skills. Third, we have opening. 4, we have closing. And 5, we have driving interest level higher. Opening means that I'm starting a conversation with a gal. So when you hear the term opening, that means we're starting a conversation with a gal. When you hear the term closing, that means we're closing, we're getting something. We're doing a phone number close, we're getting a phone number. At the end of the first date, we're doing something known as a kiss close. We're getting the kiss. At the end of the third date, and excuse my language, but we call this an F close. I'll let you figure out what F means. F means that after the third date, a woman's interest level is so high in us that she now wants to have sex with us. So these are all forms of closing, and I want to talk about each of these today. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about mindset. We see lots of videos on what to do, on what to say, how to approach women, how to do internet dating. The biggest key to all of this is mindset, okay? You have to do something known as prizing. That means that you are the prize. You need to develop the mindset that you are valuable. I see this all the time. I see guys, good men, athletic. I know this one guy, he's a great wrestler. He's athletic. He's tall. He's got a good job. He doesn't make 6 figures, but he's got a good job. And he's constantly selling himself short because he doesn't think he measures up. And a big product of that is our modern media and, on our dating apps, only 80% of the women are only interested in 20% of the men. And our men have been brainwashed to think that they have to be 6 feet tall, they have to make 6 figures, or they have to have a 6-pack, drive a Ferrari in order to be valuable enough to date women. That's so wrong, guys. You have value. Understand your value and work on your mindset. A lot of this also has to do with becoming confident enough to talk to women. And again, this is something that can be developed. There was a guy on Reddit, of all places, not a good place for relationship advice, but this guy was talking about how over a 10-year period, he went from being terrified to he was terrified to talk to women. He would stutter. He even felt himself that he may have been a little bit slightly on the autism spectrum. He was terrible. He had no success, but he joined the seduction community. This was many years ago, like 20 years ago, when the seduction community was still around, and he practiced. He went and he got a job as a bartender. He was in college. He got a job as a bartender. Why? Because that would force him to interact and talk with women. So he practiced. He practiced opening, and he used something known as can game, which I'll talk about in a moment, and he got better. Okay, it's like you go to the gym, you start lifting weights, you start lifting light weights. Then you lift heavier weights, and before you know it, you're strong and muscular. It's the same thing with women. You need to practice. You need to get in. You need to take chances. You need to realize that early on, you're going to face a lot of rejection. That's okay. It does not hurt you whatsoever. The key is that you practice. A similar thing happened to me. I taught junior college for 8 years, and I don't know if you guys know much about how universities work, but generally, the higher the academic standards, the less attractive the women. This is something I noticed at a major research university. The women aren't as attractive, very smart. And you get to junior college and every girl is almost 4 out of 5 of the gals at junior college are gorgeous. So I was spending my days lecturing to classes, 35 students, 18 of them would be women. Most of them were very good looking. So by teaching junior college for years, I became very confident talking to beautiful women, talking to beautiful women. So that helped me in the dating world because I had broken through that barrier of fear that so many of us face and that we must overcome. So you must develop the mindset. It's critical, guys. You can get good. You just have to practice. Trust me on that one. And I see so many men give up there. They'll get turned down a few times and they'll get discouraged and they'll stop trying. Don't do that, guys. Keep trying. Get into a community where people will support you. Write comments on my videos, and I will help you. You know, we used to do something in the seduction community known as field reports, where we'll get out in the field, right, like a bar, a club, or somewhere where we meet women, and we would write up what we did, and we would dissect it. We would look at where we were successful and where we were not successful. So again, mindset is critical. You need to develop those conversation skills, right? Again, practice telling stories. We have a canned opener known as a jealous girlfriend opener. I'm not going to have time enough to get into that today, but that's a great one. It's like a little story. Women love stories. If you can get a woman to listen to your story, that's going to boost your interest level. So you see a gal, you open her, you have a good mindset, you start some conversation. Her interest initially might only be 50% in you. But after you start talking to her, suddenly it goes up 57, 58%. You've opened her. You've developed some value through conversation skills. Now you want to close. You want to close for that phone number. Again, you guys are going to get rejected a lot at first, but as you practice, you will get better over time. Okay, so what we are doing is we want to constantly drive interest level higher. That is the purpose of all this. Constantly increase that interest level, even if it's just a couple percentages, right? So you see this gal you like, you walk up to her, you start talking to her. Initially, she looks at you and you pass her visual criteria. You look good enough for her to talk to. Her interest maybe be 52, 53%. You talk to her, it goes up to 57, 58. You number close her, it goes to 60%. You wait a couple days to contact her. Her interest level should rise. You ask her out for a date. It goes up. On that date, you continue to raise her interest level. That's what it's all about. And these are developable. These are skills that you can develop through practice. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about natural versus canned game. Okay, canned game refers to pickup lines, like the aforementioned jealous girlfriend opener. I heard a great line on Instagram the other day. This guy walked up to this gal and he said, you know, I've had a crush on you for the last 5 seconds. Okay. Again, guys, these can lines, you know, a lot of people take a black or white view of these can lines. Don't do that. It's all a gray area. We want to go towards something called natural game. So you have can game, rehearsed lines, and then you have natural games. And we're always working towards natural game, but we're going to use some can game to get us there, to get us in the game, so to speak. Okay, so look at can game sort of as training wheels on your bicycle. So when you were 5, 6 years old, you're learning how to ride a bike. You had training wheels until you got good enough to take the training wheels off and ride without them. Same thing with can game. We use rehearsed canned openers to start conversations, to build our confidence. And as we get better and better, as we practice more and more, we get better, and we then rely more on natural game. I talked about this guy who posted on Reddit. It took him 10 years to get really good. Finally, he got really good. He went from a guy who couldn't talk to women to a guy who was opening lots of women, to a guy who was getting lots of phone number, to eventually a guy who was getting lots of dates. Now, 10 years later, he's happily married to a great woman. Again, this is all a progression, all developable skills, okay? So that's what I want to talk about a little bit when I mentioned can versus natural game. I wanted to go over some other aspects of natural game, like the jealous girlfriend opener, also the yes ladder, and what I call a venue change. This video is running a little bit long. Again, we're at the 11-minute mark, so I'm going to cut it short. But the bottom line here, guys, is you have to understand that seduction is a skill that can be developed through practice. You have to work hard at it, and you have to keep trying, but eventually you will get good. So again, if you like what you heard today, please hit the like and subscribe button.